The Caucasian here on planet Earth was created by the reptilians and the Greys for the purpose of being their war instrument here and to maintain constant wars here for the purpose of bringing the planet's humans to their knees so that they can become the slaves of the reptilian humanoids who have given military industrial war machinery to the Caucasian for this purpose, so that they can control the humans here and thus control the entire universe.
The famous Grand Commander of World Freemasonry, in his own written words: "We shall unleash the nihilists and atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which, in all its horror, will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil." Mr. Pike also declared, "I took my obligation to white men, not Negroes. When I have to accept Negroes as brethren or leave Freemasonry, I shall leave it."
Kinds of bloodshed and violence all over the world is being organized, directed, and financed by the United States government and the British government together, Britain and America, are the reason for the violence and the chaos that we're seeing throughout the world today.
Psychiatrist Eugene Fisher urged the annihilation of Negro children.
America is referred to by the secret societies throughout the world as the New Egypt. That's a term that is given to them in their given to America in their literature, the New Egypt, because our whole laws are based on the ancient magic of Egypt, the white and black magic. That's why your police cars have black and white cars, because it's the idea of black and white magic coming out of Egypt. And you know, these people who are running this country are really devious. Based on black and white cars. The idea of black.
The United Nations is with us because of the Council on Foreign Relations. A committee of the Council on Foreign Relations wrote the proposal. They handed it to Roosevelt, and he then announced it as if it was his policy. At the first meeting in San Francisco to launch the United Nations, 74 of the American delegation were members of the Council on Foreign Relations.
The universal symbol for York Rite Freemasonry is the cross inside a crown. A cross and a crown, the sign of the Knights Templar, which seems to be the sun itself.
Because our whole laws are based on the ancient magic of Egypt, the white and black magic. That's why your police cars have black and white cars, because it's the idea of black and white magic coming out of Egypt.
In 1954, Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands invites a group of Western European and North American leaders to a weekend conference at the Hotel Bilderberg in Oosterbeek, Holland. The meeting is held in secret, and they decide to make the conference an annual private retreat, which continues to this day. Attendees are believed to include Henry Kissinger, Bill Clinton, David Rockefeller, Tony Blair, Peter Jennings, and an endless list of princes, chancellors, ambassadors, and media magnates.
The most secretive of the modern secret societies. They're so secretive they don't even have a name. In this country, we operate under the golden rule. Whoever has the gold makes the rules.
Is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
The British royalty, the reason why we call them the royal family comes from Egypt. Osiris, Isis, and Horus were the original trinity in Egypt that was referred to in Egypt as the Holy Family, the royal family. That's where they get the royal families, because of the triangle of the pyramid of Egypt, with God's son, Horus, rising. And so there's nothing holy about these people at all, okay?
They met in the early 70s, at an island off Sweden. And they decided that they were going to hike the price of oil massively.
In his interagency meetings, Tony Marley argued, let's at least send a few $1,000s worth of rubber rafts and boat hooks to fish the bodies out of the water.
You are sitting on the throne of David for Jehovah, the God of the Old Testament. You are, in fact, Messiah waiting for, or Shiloh, who is waiting for the Messiah to come back.
They then went to the Arab oil countries, which they also interconnect with. And they said, look, we're going to hike the price of oil massively.
You see where royalty comes from. They actually believe that God put them there. They're a holy family. But the whole thing is based on Egypt. Pyramids, triangles.
You'll make vast amounts of extra income, but we want you to put it in specific bank accounts that we tell you about. Okay. They then needed an excuse to hike the price of oil. So what they did was created the Arab-Israeli war.
The violence spiraled out of control. Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak has been in telephone contact with Yasser Arafat to appeal for calm.
Solar system. The reptilians from Orion discovered it much later and attempted to claim it, and war ensued between us. That struggle remains until today's attempt at a complete takeover by them. We of the Dog Star and the Dragon Slayers of Aldebaran, the Pleiadians, the Octarians, and other Federation members are back in the Dog Pound. We are here to stay and move the Lizzies out today. To help you take the planet back, the original gangster Dog Pound in this spiral galaxy.
Have a monetary system because the needs of the people were catered for by the Federation, which made them all equal. At the request of the aliens, a meeting was arranged with President Eisenhower in 1954. It took place amid tight security at a secret location. At this meeting, negotiations took place regarding the permitted presence of the aliens on Earth. Eisenhower told the aliens that the world was not yet ready for them.
Eisenhower witnessed an alien demonstration of technology and power at Muroc Dry Lake, which is now called Edwards Air Force Base. I believe we made a deal, and the deal was that in exchange for super technology, super weapons technology, we would agree to ignore the abductions that were going on. He made it more military-oriented than, say, a civilian president would have.
The Russians took pictures. Mars was invaded. We had a human colony there of 300,000, so I'm told. One was underground, one was above ground, Adam and Eve. They are conquered. They're being taken over. The human beings that are from Earth that volunteered or were kidnapped to go there are in deep trouble. Many of them have already been eaten. Some of them have already been killed. There is nothing we can do here as a race to help them.
So Mars was conquered by the Alpha Draconis?
That's right. They came in, and there's 100,000 of them there. They have approximately 2,111 scout craft there. They're in an area underground that is 64 square miles, known on Mars as the area of Tempe Terra. That's where their base is. It's an ancient base that they had. It's over 1 million years old. And the last time it was in full bloom was 317,000 years ago.
Now, if we begin to train all our telescopes on that, are we going to be able to see activity going on there?
I suppose that we would. I have a feeling that they already are seeing incredible amounts of activity, but they're not allowed to say it. They're just not allowed to say it. Nor, who's going to want to jeopardize going to jail, being ridiculed, being fired, giving up everything they have to come up and say, well, I'm an astronomer, and I was looking at Mars, and I saw alien craft, and I know there's a base there, and it's being conquered by reptilian aliens. Who's going to have the guts to come up and say it? Nobody in the power elite. Nobody wants to blow their mortgage.
It is interesting that the Zulus, in their myths and traditions, identify their beginnings with the planet Mars. There was a great war, and the most beautiful women were placed upon what they called the Maracaibo, the spaceship that brought them from Mars to this planet. It is interesting that this word is very similar to the Hebrew word Merkava, which means the divine vehicle used by the angels or higher intelligence in visiting the human creation.
Spoke of the fact that you have lived on other systems, that not everyone on Earth has come up through the evolutionary system in this planetary system. There are many universes and many planetary systems. In your case, you have lived on other planetary systems as part of your overall evolution. This memory of these other systems remains with you. Therefore, you are interested in such subjects, and you make others aware. This is very worthy of you. In terms specifically, there are several different systems that you function on. One in particular, the last one I feel that you identify most with, is one in which space travel is very, very developed, interdimensional space travel. We're not talking about the retarding type of space travel that is occurring here, where it's operating interdimensionally, just like your body box goes up in space and tries to go to distant planets. We are talking about a very advanced type of space travel where devices are used that are actually like living organisms. They can operate interdimensionally, just like your body is a living organism. And they can merely travel to an intention. That is, a person decides to go if they were to go.
Well, there ain't nothing holy about it. It don't represent nothing holy. It represents a very powerful secret society. Same people who are printing your money are directing the churches. It says that the presidents meet with all of the heads of industry throughout the world, all of the heads of state throughout the world, and all of the most important wheeler dealers in this country, and they all meet up in Northern California, and they have rituals where they go before the owl after midnight. And what a picture you got, with all the presidents dressed up like Ku Klux Klanners with black and red robes on before an owl. And these are your presidents of this country. And the reason why they chose the owl is because the owl is a symbol used in Europe by secret societies, because the owl is wise, because it sees things in the dark. And the implication is, of course, that's why they are where they are, because they're very brilliant and they know things that you don't know. Ready to. So Malta. And in world Freemasonry, there is something we call today an unwritten code of ethics among the thieves. I mean, you may be the East Coast family and the West Coast family, but
East Coast or West Coast thieves, they are still warmongering beasts, as is recorded in their historical events. East Coast or West Coast, it is all the same with these monstrous beasts. The world knows that they are working with these demonic aliens, which provide them with military-industrial war machinery. This was okay under the demonic period of Jehovah's Babylonian death fear. However, we are now in Camelot, seeking a 104,000-year projection of love, peace, and honor.